University of Man.
Hey, my man.
Let's go.
Hey, welcome to the University of Man, where you got two brothers talking about manhood, and it's always a great day to be amazing. My brother, Irie Leroy L. Lewis.
You know what? Why you got to put all that good stuff? You can't.
Hey,
You gotta talk,
Irie L.
man.
Lewis. Hey,
Thank you.
I'm the only one that can use that in middle name. Irie L. Lewis, financial guru out there in LA where all the rain is happening right now.
It never rains in Southern California, except
Somebody lied, baby, because it's definitely raining out there now. Hey, man, the stage is set. Super Bowl Sunday is upon us.
Yeah.
We got the Kansas City Chiefs. We got San Francisco 49ers and a number one draft pick against the very last draft pick. And
That's wrong. That's wrong because Patrick Mahomes was not picked number one. He was
wasn't he
picked in the second round, I believe.
really? Was he?
Well, either second round or end of the first. They traded up to get him. He was from Texas Tech, man. They did the air raid.
Right, but I thought it was the last. He was the last player in the first round.
Something like that. I know he was a fringe first, second round guy.
Okay, well, either way, Brock Purdy was definitely the last, and
Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant. And what does the good book say about the first shall be last and the last shall be first? And I'm just saying, like, when we start thinking about things that happen in our life, man, that's a testament. And the reason why I brought the Bible up is because whenever Brock does an interview, the first thing he does is give praise to God. And I can, you know what I'm saying? I can respect that.
Yeah, I think he was raised well. His parents, they put it on him. He was in church probably from the beginning of church to the end. These church boys out there.
Absolutely. I guess there's two church boys on the line right now, so it's all good, man. But last week, bro, we talked about purpose, man. Finding your purpose as a man, and a lot of it came down to what we were born into or what we chose to be, whether it be husbands, fathers, brothers, sons, uncles, whatever that is that we have been born into. It's kind of our purpose. But we also alluded to a lot of times, sometimes we get our passion confused with our purpose. But I do believe sometimes your purpose jumps into your passion. But today I want to talk about how you can get your passion to fund your purpose. What do you think about that?
Before we even go there, I apologize. I just looked this up. And you got that Bears hat on. And, I looked up, I was like, who got drafted before Patrick Mahomes in 2017? And the Bears actually had a draft pick. They actually traded up.
I didn't really want you to talk about
traded up to get this number 2 guy,
Mitch Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky.
I knew that, but I didn't want to bring that up. Why would you bring that up?
So you telling me that the Chicago Bears in 2017 could have drafted who? The MVP of the wow.
So what we were talking about is your passion. Because what you're talking about, we don't even need to discuss. Mrs. McCaskey made it clear Justin Fields may be the last black quarterback to play for the Chicago Bears.
I mean, he can't even get a starting spot over Duck Hodges with the Steelers, man.
If we get Caleb Williams,
who did you guys hire to actually be your GM back then? What were they looking at? They traded number 1 picks for Mitch Trubisky.
So listen,
I played 9 games at UNC, North Chapel Hill, the powerhouse of all quarterback you right there.
Stop it.
My bad.
So I actually did have a sister walk up to me and say, "Hey, man, I like to congratulations on the podcast, but y'all started talking about sports and it went over my head." So listen.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
Especially since you're starting to down the Bears right now.
Hey man,
No,
listen, I'm a Bears fan. Walter
you
Payton, number
can't be.
34, sweetness, girl,
You
not
cannot
quite
be a
right.
Bears fan. You cannot be a Bears fan.
Kangaroos, the zipper on the side.
You
Man,
cannot be a Bears fan if you keep bringing up bad decisions. We all know about the bad decisions that our organization has made, like firing a black coach that was 10-6, that took you to the Super Bowl,
Lovey
won
Smith.
defense in the league for 3 years running, and you let him go when he was 10-6.
Lovey
He
Smith.
ain't been to the playoffs since. Well, one time with Matt Nagy and what's that dude named Jay Cutler. But man, Lovey Smith, 10-6. He gets let go. Matt Ryan for the New York Jets was 6-10 and got promoted.
Yeah.
What is happening? Now that it's Black History Month, now you got me on my soapbox. Yes, that was definitely a bad decision when it came to black leaderships in the NFL.
Oh man.
But so that we don't stay too far on topic. Passions, funding your purpose, right? So, but before you talk about that, there's a passage in the Bible that talks about a master leaving, and he left his servants, one servant 5 talents, one servant 2 talents, and one servant 1 talent. And at the gist of the story is when he came back, he was gone for some time. It wasn't like he just left for a couple of days. He was gone for a long period of time. And the guy who we gave 5 talents, when master came back, because he knew that this master wanted his money plus some, he
Right.
made his talents into 10. The one with 2, because he knew who his master was, he made his talents from 2 into 4. Now the one with 1 knew how hard his master was, and he was so scared, he buried his talent. And the master came back and was furious. Like, what do you mean? I gave you 1 talent and you did nothing with it. You buried it, and he was so mad that he took that dude's talent and gave it to the one with the most talent.
Can I talk about the guy with the fear though? Because
That,
this is kind of where a lot of people that I've grown up are.
mm-hmm,
You're so afraid of what could not happen versus what could happen that instead of quote unquote dying from trying at the sword of somebody else or your quote unquote master, I'm just gonna go ahead and put his stuff to the side, not worry about it, and when he comes back, he can go ahead and have that. Whereas sometimes you got to go ahead, man. I'll go into my own personal stuff. There's been times where I just put that to the side because I know it's supposed to be something good. I know I could do something with it, but I want to honor someone and or something to make sure that that is okay when it comes back, right?
mm-hmm.
So, you might be too afraid to be able to even make a move. So your analysis to paralysis. You're paralyzed. Can't even move. Frustrated that you're not getting where you're supposed to be because you're too afraid to make a mistake.
Ooh. So you said, listen, that's a lot to unpack, bro. So, but the underlying thing was fear.
Yeah.
That one servant, and in the Bible it calls him a servant, but we think about God gives us all some form of a talent. Let's make this very practical. Your talent can be speaking, your talent can be writing, whatever your talent is, God has given you a talent. If you bury that talent and not use it, it's the same adage. If you don't use it, you'll lose it. So sometimes when we don't use the talents that God has given us, people wonder why. Oh, when they ready to use it, it's no longer active. If you lay around the house for 30 days and never get up, you might have a hard time walking when you decide to get up because you're not using those leg muscles. You're not using that core to sit up. If you don't use it, you will lose it. And most of the time when we have a talent or a gift, that's usually our passion. And people, it kills me how people work a job for years and years and years and hate it because they're too afraid, fear, to live out their dreams. And I have this saying, live your dreams while you're awake. And what that means is stop sleeping, dreaming that you can one day do this. I can one day have this. You woke up today. Today is the day. It's a great day to be amazing, baby. Today is the day to activate your faith and your dream and live your dreams while you're alive. What'd you think?
This is near and dear to me because I've many a times taken a whole lot of leaps. But in being married, I
Woo!
have someone else that allows me to see the other side and
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, maybe you should pump your brakes on this, this, and this. And if it were up to me, I would have already did that, that, and that. But sometimes you have to have what's called discernment. And what you think may work may not work. And you haven't looked at all the angles. But as an only child, I was the checks and balances. But as a man that has a wife, now I have checks, balances, and some other balances and the beam. You got to do like this. You got to hopefully it works. And then you have to have the conversation of why it didn't work out, why it did. And in communicating what I believe should work, I better be ready for a whole bunch of darts because have you ever came home and you were excited about something? Man, I'm talking about it's going down. And all of a sudden, my wife she has the machine, like that question, like the face, she has the face, and machine gun questions start happening. Like, but what about well, and like by the time you get done with a question or a word, she already knows what you're about to say. She goes to the next question, and like you feel inferior. So now you're in a position where you come home, you may have a conversation with your wife, your husband, whatever it is out there, and you want to be more than prepared. Um, my wife and I, we've gotten through this because I just stopped talking about it. I was like, you know what? I don't even want to say nothing. But now I have the ability to not only articulate what I want to say, what I'd like to do, but I know some of the questions that she'd have beforehand, and they still happen. But it goes back to fear and then faith over fear. Being able to walk that plank and know that there's something else that's on the other side. Being able to take the extra step, not knowing if it's going to be something there or not, but you know that you have that whisper in your ear from God. And sometimes you can't explain it, but they just got to know that you believe in it. And that's been some of the things that we've done with my wife and I.
So you just said something. And I was married for 21 years. You've been married now
Going on 17, man.
17, baby. Congratulations. What happens when you, as a husband, absolutely unequivocally know that God has given you a direction to do something and you come home fired up and your wife starts asking those questions and plants that seed of doubt?
So prayer works. And the great part about our marriage is we both pray for each other, and I pray that she sees it. And if she doesn't see it, then obviously God's put her in my life to be my rib to make sure that I don't make the wrong decisions. I say this often. I'm the head of the household, the head all day long, but she is the neck and the body that points me in the directions that I need to see, whatever I need to do. Because why would you give something so amazing to me and I not use it, not have prudence? And we make decisions together. At the end of the day, I may pray and make sure that God has some of the things that he needs to say and puts into my mind. She gives me some elements of stuff. I may be able to make that decision, but I have all things and I weigh all things out. And if God still says move forward, move forward. But if she gives me some stuff that I never thought about, I'm blind to a lot of stuff, man. Like my wife says, you didn't even see what they meant this, this, and this. I was like, really? So being able to lean on somebody that knows you better sometimes than yourself, it makes the difference, all the world in the difference.
So with that, it's not, because it sounds like there's two different ways that we can pursue our passion
Sure.
as a single man and as a married man. As a married man, we're supposed to come home and have that conversation with our wife and say, hey, here's the vision. Let's make it plain. write down the pros and cons, or have that discussion and things of that nature. But when you were a single guy, and we go way back like Cadillac seats, baby. I've seen you make some risk, take some risk on some things that paid off, and
Yep.
then take some risk on some things that didn't pay off the way you thought they were, but end up being to your benefit later, right?
Mhm.
So as a single man, where I'm saying, hey, I don't have the wife to give me that, to fill in those blind spots. How do we as men not have that fear of failing, that fear of, oh man, nobody's gonna back me, nobody's gonna support me, blah blah blah, in this venture that God may be telling me to do? Where do you muster up that faith to move forward with that vision?
So in the Bible, it has a principle, and the principle is just broken down. And if you actually make it in today's terms, find a mentor, right? There was a lot of mentors in the Bible. They had men that followed other men. They had women that followed other women. They had people to actually have conversations with them about how to get where they are or where they're coming from, and they had guidance. So whether it be we talk about the four F's: faith, family, finance, fitness, and then I don't think you need a mentor for fun. But your faith, you have to have a mentor. Obviously, you have a spiritual mentor. Your family, you're looking at other individuals that have good relationships with their families. Sometimes it could be the mentor with your spiritual walk, but it could be somebody else who's like, you know what, I want to have a great relationship with my family, just like you as a father and a husband, right? So you talk to them about different things and you run things past them. And then, your finances and your fitness. Like, how dare you walk out there and act like you got everything together without getting a mentor? And these mentors can come from books, the Bible, different authors. Like, and many times Napoleon Hill is in my head all the time. Simon Sinek's in my head all the time because I am looking to be congruent with my mentors. So now I don't make the decision on my own. I make the decision through some of the best authors and through some of the best minds and geniuses of the world to date. So now I look a whole lot smarter than I am, but I'm just mimicking, not recreating, but mimicking what actually is a passion for somebody else. And going back to passions and paying for, what you're supposed to do in life. My pastor always talks about this, Dr. Fred L. Hodge Jr. from Living Praise Christian Center. He says that your passion will turn into it will make room for money. If that's truly something that's coming from God, money will come and follow it. So you don't have to be in a position where you're rushing. You chase your purpose and people will throw money at whatever's going at what you're doing. And he'll give you a prudent mind to be in a position to run businesses and things of such. And then you go to work because you want to, not because you have to. And it's not even work anymore. It's a gift. You're giving the gift that, like, once you find your gift that God's given to you, I think this is us. We can be able to speak to almost anyone in any place. It could be a person that's homeless, or it could be a congressman, and we can get our point across. But that's a gift that we found probably in college. I listened to you talk, and you had that before college because you were in the church doing your thing, man. So go ahead.
Hey, listen, you said something about having a mentor, and I was going to say that, like, for the month of March of last year, my mentor was Curtis 50 Cent Jackson.
Yes, sir.
And people were like, "What?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I read Hustle Harder. I read the 50th Law. Uh, and when I tell you, he said some things in his books that had me fired. When I say fire, I was fired up all summer. Like, listen, and I use a lot of those things in business because when you go through near death experiences, like, what am I scared of in business? Like, what? I almost died in real life. So what? If I come with a business proposal and somebody turns me down, I have no fear when it comes to that. And when I go in with no fear and I present it in such a way that it's like, hey, I know that this is gonna work because not because of just the numbers, but you got me. Like I tell people that on a regular basis when I'm doing a quote for their insurance. Like, listen, wherever you go, it might be $5 or $10 higher than what I'm or lower than what I'm quoting you. But the one
Right.
thing that they don't have that we have over here is me. I'm gonna be the one to make sure we take care of you. When you call, you're gonna talk to me. I'm gonna remember your issue. I'm gonna take care of your issue like you're my family. So I believe in gambling on myself. And that was one of 50's principles. Like, we gamble on a lot of things. Like, I hear people talk about all the time, oh, well, I can't be an entrepreneur. I can't own my own business because what if people don't come? Like, what if you go to the job that you at and they close it down? What if they lay you off? Like, what?
Yeah.
Why do we put so much into other people, but not into what God has already given us? And I feel like with those passions, and you're right, it's just the same thing we talked a couple of weeks ago. When you chase money, that means money is running away from you. But when you're chasing something else, money will find you, and money will be thrown at you because you're living out your purpose and you're chasing your passion. And I truly believe those people who are wealthy are people who are doing their passion, and they would do that for free. And I used to hear people say that when I was a kid. Find a job that you would actually do for free and you can monetize it. Now that's how you're gonna become rich.
Yeah.
You know? So when we talk about having your passion fund your purpose, they could be one and the same. However, some people do have a extra gift, talent that could be a passion of theirs that they could use to fund the sole purpose of why you're here on this earth. And at some periods of your life, your purpose could just be to be a father. Your purpose could just be to be a husband. Your purpose could just be to be a son. That could be your purpose for that period in life. But just like the Bible says, when I was a child, I thought as a child, I spake as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. That period of being just the son is over now. So now my purpose has moved on to something bigger and different. So how do I use that passion that God has given me and not be so scared? And that right there, man, tell me, because you from Danville, Illinois. And for those folks who don't know
So
where
what's that?
Danville, most people don't know where Danville is. Danville, Illinois, you're in Thousand Oaks, California. And if y'all don't know that, that's like next door to Bel Air. You remember that show we used to watch with the Fresh Prince of Bel Air? Thousand Oaks is out there in LA next to Bel Air.
Eh,
I give you so many props because the lack of fear of leaving the Midwest in one of the smallest cities. I mean, it's still a city, but one of the smallest cities in America, and going out there where, but I might add, you had no family, you barely knew anybody. You met people who were in our fraternity, and you built relationships based on something that we started in the Midwest, and now you have this conglomerate of a network. How did you overcome those fears?
You don't. Oh, let me do something. Thousand Oaks is not by Bel Air. With geography,
A
wise.
little
For the
exaggeration
people
on
in
that.
California, you guys know that. But
Yeah.
um, I'll say that I had fear, and if somebody says that they didn't have fear, they're kidding you.
Mm-hmm.
But I had that much more courage, and I know whose I am. And it goes back to I'm not doing this by myself. So when I heard the whispers, I was so clear. I was fasting, I was praying, and I was in the word, and I was celibate, and I was in a position where I was moving with the Holy Spirit, and I wanted to be in a place where because I really wanted to make sure that um I could do this, and I had to like train myself, teach myself how to
Whoa,
make
whoa, whoa,
decisions.
whoa, whoa. Did you say you were celibate at this time?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I think I don't want to gloss over that. Because a lot of times, as men, you're like, man, We got to be out there getting that thing on. You know what I'm saying? What you talking about? You celibate. Why would that be a big deal when it comes to making major life-changing decisions?
You got to have your whole self, and I call it standing in your stuff. Like you've got to stand in it. Like you got yourself to this position right here, right now. Own it. Be okay with it. I love me, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
he loved me. So he wouldn't put me through the situation. I would not have, like, I've got to pass this test to be able to get to the next level. If I don't pass this test to get to the next level, I won't be able to have this to look back on and say, I did this in 2024, dot, dot, dot. You know, in 2032, I'm going to look back on this and say, I've already done this. That's what's next. So the tests don't get easier, we just get stronger.
Mm-hmm.
So by me saying that I did have fear, but I kept moving regardless, sometimes you have to move at the speed of instruction to forget that you're even doing something that's fearful. So you no longer can do it. Like, have you ever done something the first time you did it, it was phenomenal, and the second time you sort of realized what you did, it was like, whoa, wait a minute, why didn't I think about this, this, and this? And then you
Mm-hmm.
do it a little less as good as you did the first time because you didn't think about it. You have natural instincts. You have people and things that are actually working with you and for you. And there's times where you don't need to put too much into it. You just have to go ahead and give God the glory and move with the Holy Spirit and get through it. Like there's a lot of times where I preach or talk, and I said preach. I'm not. Listen. Let me rephrase.
Hey, it came out. It came out, baby. When you preach.
When I talk, there's times where I have topics that I want to go through, but I just pray before I get up there. And then whatever comes out is going to come out to the people that deserve to hear it.
And I get that. So I mean, we've both done some things, especially being only children, coming from a single mother, coming from the areas that we come from. We shouldn't, based on what man say, we shouldn't be where we are, right? The statistics say that we should be locked up, we should be dead, we shouldn't be doing the things that we're doing. But when you know whose you are and who you are, like you said, you can walk into a different light. So I had a situation where I was diagnosed with something, and when I got the diagnosis,
Mm.
I never heard what the end result was. And I'm just going around like, oh, and I heard them tell me what the diagnosis was. I couldn't pronounce it, calciphilitis or whatever. Yeah, calciphilitis. I couldn't pronounce it at the time. And they was like, oh, yeah, we're going to give you this medicine for 6 months. And then we'll see what happens. And I'm like, oh, y'all don't know, but okay, well, all right, well, we'll take the medicine for 6 months, see what happens. Some things changed in my life and it went
Mm.
away. So I'm back at the doctor, like, all right, I need to get off this medicine. And the doctor's like looking at me like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, like I'm just here because I want y'all to take me off the medicine. The issue is gone. You know what I'm saying? Like, another doctor came in the room, and he usually comes in and stands up and has what he has to say. He sat down and was like, and you know, doctors are human too. So
Yeah.
they try to maintain a level of professionalism and everything. He sat down and he was like, man, the mortality rate on this. And I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. What do you mean the mortality rate? What he said, well, I didn't mean to say that, but I've already said it. The mortality rate on that was 6 months. I said, you telling me that you thought I only had 6 months to live? And then it started rushing back to me. Oh, that's why you said you was going to give me this medicine for only 6 months to see if it was going to work. He's like, yeah, but it worked. I said, well, maybe it did work, but God worked. Now he might have worked through the medicine, but I'm telling you, he's like, yeah. I said, so how many people have you treated with this situation? He said, yeah, they're usually gone in 6 months. That was over 2 years ago, right? Over two. But because technically I didn't hear it, it didn't go in my mind. So I wasn't walking around thinking, oh man, I only got 6 months to live. That's why I hate when I hear people say, oh, these people they only gave them 2 weeks to live. God didn't give me that. Like, what are you talking about? And I get it. You went to school, you got the degree, and science has told you this is what happened. But that's when I say, like, I serve the living God, and there's nothing that is impossible for him. That's why nobody can. People are like, man, bro, you've been through all these surgeries and you still get up and go. Matter of fact, my pastor just literally just said to me, she said, you know, you ain't been to therapy for none of that. I said, Pastor, I can't stay in a wheelchair. I can't sit down. I got to go because God has a work for me. And if I just continue to sit down, if I don't use it, I ain't going to lose it. So I have to keep pushing, like, regardless. So fear, like, when you think you know something, your wisdom is against you sometimes. Just like you said, like, you like, man, when I start thinking about, wait a minute, I did X, Y, and Z, man, what if such and such would have happened? Because now you start thinking, man, I did that without really paying attention.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between surrendering everything that you have to God and allowing him to take the wheel, or you still trying to fight and being like, oh, maybe I can. No, I don't. But like I said, when I read Curtis 50 Cent Jackson's book, it was like, man, I almost died.
Hey, can I add into that? There was a moment, and I can't pinpoint exactly when it was, but I thought we lost you, and I was tore up, and then I prayed. Let's talk about the power of prayer, y'all.
Yes.
Prayed, and God showed it to me as clear as day. Oh, he gonna be all right. So whatever you say, something crazy, whatever, like I'm like, man, it's all good. Like when you talk to me, you
Yeah.
probably expect something else, but I've already prayed about it. I already know what's going on. I know what's gonna happen. And you might want to call me whenever something happens because I already got the glow. So like when the vision came, it was like, oh, Fred's gonna be good. That right there for friends out there. Sometimes you got to pray for your friends, for brothers and sisters, for aunts, nieces, nephews. You got to stand in the gap. And if you're not standing in the gap, maybe that didn't happen. I'm not saying that, listen, I can't take any of that credit. That's all God be the glory. But I opened up my mouth. I prayed. We had some people on the West Coast praying for you, man. So
Man.
now you're in a position where you are praying, and now you can actually say, God, you told me this was going to be okay. So let's work with it. So
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for your prayers. I appreciate it.
yeah.
Secondly, like, that's why I always tell people friendship is so important to me. It's so important because a lot of people out there that got siblings, they had no choice over who their siblings were. And the Bible says that a friend is actually sticks closer than a brother. And when I read that, I was like, man, I'm an only child, so I don't understand that. But you remember playing basketball outside in the alley, and you ever played with two brothers? The brothers never wanted to be on the team together. They always wanted to play against each other, especially the little brother. The little brother either wanted to be on the team or he wanted to beat his big brother. They were always going at it. And I used to be like, man, you okay? I guess that's what they call sibling rivalries. But when we played basketball, best friends, even if you were best friends with somebody who couldn't play, if I'm picking a team and my best friend couldn't play that well, I'm picking him first so he don't feel left out because that's my guy, right? And I'm gonna make up for everything that he's not able to do, and we're gonna work on his strengths. Well, I remember when we was in undergrad, you didn't really shoot that well. But I'm like, his defense is good. He gonna block shots. If you run into him, it's gonna be a brick wall.
Oh,
Yep. I got to roll with Ivory.
and Fred got a jumper. It was wet. He came out three-pointer gone. I'm like, wait a minute.
Back in the day, we used to do it. But
Yeah.
I'm saying you get to choose your friends and choose wisely, because when you're down and you need somebody to get a prayer through, listen, one of the most important things that I ever think that shows me love is when somebody says, first of all, God is real busy, right? Everybody in the world he's working on, he's helping. And you say, hey, God, hey, God, hey, God. And he said, huh? And he pays attention to you and you decide to talk about me. That's love, because you got his attention in prayer. And you said, God, hey, I'm coming to you because I need you to pay attention. I need you to listen to me. I got a request. And he's like, oh, what you need, my son? But you don't talk about yourself. You talk about me. That's love. Some of us running around here talking about, oh, it's love because, somebody got my back on the street. Somebody, Oh, he had my back in a fight. Nah, was you fighting with me spiritually? Was you fighting with me when I was down and out? Like these cats on the street talking about these my guys, but they don't even show up to you to come see you in the pen when you locked up.
Yeah.
I don't need you to do that. What I need you to do is send your prayers. You talking about in LA and I'm in Chicago? Because prayer can go where you can't go. Like, bro, so once again, I know I've told you before, but if I ain't told you recently, I appreciate the love. I appreciate the prayers. And one of the things you did that, like a lot of people, most people will never know. So I'm gonna let it out the bag. I never forget the time you came from California to Chicago to my house. And one of the most humblest things in the world that I ever had to go through was to ask another grown man to take my garbage out because I couldn't physically do it. And I didn't want my wife at the time or my daughters to do that because that was my job. Not only did you take the garbage out, you cleaned out my garage, you changed the filter in the attic, like all the things that I would have normally done, you came and did that. And that was like, hey, this is my man, $100 grand. Not only did he pray, he came through. Like, that's what I'm talking about. That's friendship. Some other people are like, well, all right, man, you know, I'll be there, woo, and they literally lived around the corner. Or but you got on the plane, came through, hooked it up, and was like, man, what else can I do? Oh, you took a whole old treadmill out the basement. I remember that. That treadmill was heavy too.
Come on, bro. I get refrigerators on my back. We good.
Hey, listen, those things are things that make you thicker. When they say blood is thicker than water, I don't know. Because the blood of Jesus is thicker than his natural blood. So it's all good. It's all good.
We got to wrap it up, but I'll say this. I'll go back to my experience with my pastor. He said that if you need something, why are you praying for it? Why aren't you praying for other people that have those same types of issues? Because it's a boomerang effect. Whatever you pray for somebody else will come back to you tenfold. It's karma. It's all that, all entwined. And if you're coming to the Lord all the time about you, check yourself. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be praying for other people. So, all right, man. I'll let it go. Leave it up to you. Let's get it.
Hey, listen. Y'all been here with the University of Man. We appreciate you. Two brothers that's just talking about manhood on a down-to-earth tip, using the Bible. So I'm gonna be real honest. If you don't want to hear nothing about the word, this probably ain't the show for you. But if you understand that the good book is the good book for a reason, we your guys. So hey, that's my man, $100 grand. Love you, bro. For all those out there that's listening, we appreciate you. Follow us on our social medias at Ivory40, at Team Abernathy Financial. We are at University of Man on Instagram, University of Man on Facebook as well. Until next time, we love you. And remember, it's a great day to be amazing.
Before you stop, who you got for the Super Bowl? I got the 49ers.
I got the Bears.
Stop it. I should be going for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs because my son's
I actually believe that it will be the biggest upset that we've seen in years, and the 49ers will prevail. Because I don't think
if you go for the 49ers, I'm switching. I think Brock Purdy's time is up. He gonna make a couple mistakes. And
it ain't even about Brock Purdy. He will make some mistakes in this game. It's about Fred Warner and his guys. That defense is gonna come through.
My man gonna get 14 catches in the middle, Mr. Kelsey. Done. All right, man. I'll see you soon. Next time.
All right, talk to you.
I'm a classic man. You can be mean when you look this clean. I'm a classic man. Calling on me like a young OG. I'm a classic man. Your knees getting met by the street, elegant, old-fashioned man. Yeah, baby, I'm a classic man.
Diversity of men.